All right. So the clergy is basically the. Remember when we were talking about before? Why is it so important to have close reading of the Bible? Do you remember that question?
Are those people in the church?
Yeah, basically, right? Why? Do you remember this
Okay.
question?
Which question?
Why is it so important to have close reading of the Bible? Do you remember what close reading means?
Um, like to understand the right thing,
Uh huh. So why was it so important?
or like if people understand wrong, they'll go to hell.
Yeah, so it's like an existential. Existential. Okay, it's like about your existence. Okay, existential crisis. All right, it's existential. All right, so that's the clergy. That's why the clergy exists. Okay, they get power like this. So more and more people believe in Christianity. This is a long time after. Okay, this is the year 1700. Okay, it's a long time after 1,000 years after Jesus. Okay,
Okay.
and now Jesus has who was the representative of Jesus is the Pope. Okay, so the Pope has this is the Pope right now, but the Pope has clergy in every European country. So we can say Europe 1400. So every king in Europe has a clergy. All right, and a lot of the times
Okay.
those clergy are really powerful because they own the. Do you know what they own? What kind of land do they own?
Rent?
Yeah. What would
Um,
what would the
the
clergy?
agriculture part?
Mm, these are the clergy. They don't own. They own the churches themselves. They own
Okay.
they own churches, and the churches might have some production. They own churches, right? So throughout all of these lands, so that's one group of people that have power. Another group of people that have power are the nobility, another hierarchy, right?
Okay.
So that's the second estate, the nobles. Okay, the clergy is the first estate, the nobles are the second estate. The nobles are people who could be the king because they're allowed to have their name on a piece of paper basically. And then we had the peasants and the bourgeoisie were the third estates. These guys are basically the craftspeople. They have their own group. Okay. And then there started to become something, a new kind of estate. Do you want to read this?
And rural commoners were split into separate estates, creating a four-estate system with rural commoners ranking the lowest as the fourth estate.
Yeah. So there was a bunch of these people when the government would meet up. They would have the first estate people, the second estate people, and the third estate people. They would come and hang out with the king, and they would make decisions about stuff. But then they started to
Okay.
create a fourth estate. The fourth estate was just like the normal people, and they're like, you have to let us in too, and that was a whole story. But one time they weren't letting them in anymore, and they went out into the tennis court. Tennis court, both. So basically, at this time, the country is very poor, as we were talking about. The fourth estate people, they were eating rats, while at the same time, we had people like. Have you ever heard of this one before?
The meat cake?
Have you heard this one before?
Okay. No.
So this is. Let's see if I can find it.
Hungry. Sending troops to America is costing more than what we estimated.
But we can't let England win. We must show our strength.
We will continue aid to the Americans.
And when they went to the Queen to tell her her subject had no bread, do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
That's such nonsense. I would never say that.
Anyway, it's a debate about whether she said that or not. Okay, whether she said let them eat cake, but because of that, the people are poor basically, and the rich people, they have everything. They eat cake all the time, and somebody said, "But madam, the people don't have bread," and she said, "Let them eat cake."
Okay.
Something like that. And so this is a rumor about whether she said that or not. Regardless of whether she said that, what happens is, okay, trigger warning. Let's go with C.
Avez-vous quelque objection à formuler quant à l'application des lois citées?
Okay, read for me. No?
Antoinette.
Antoinette.
Antoinette. Have you any reason why a sentence should not be passed on you?
Par l'accusateur public?
Le tribunal, après la déclaration unanime du jury,
condamne
la dénommée Marie-Antoinette, dite Lorraine d'Autriche, veuve Louis Capet, à la peine de mort,
to death,
et déclare, conformément à la loi
according to the law, her possessions are
du 10 mars dernier, que ses biens soient confisqués au bénéfice de la République, et ordonne qu'à la demande de l'accusateur public, le présent jugement soit exécuté place de la Révolution, et qu'il soit imprimé et affiché dans toute l'étendue du territoire de la République.
Merci, Rosalie. Merci pour tout.
Alors, citoyenne.
It's time, citizens. You know what's happening?
Is she going to bed?
Why? Why? You know why?
No.
Well, because the people are so poor, and they started to take over the streets. And they changed the government to no longer be a kingdom, but now is the first nation, the French nation. So because of that, they have to kill all of the people that could make kings.
Okay.
So she unfortunately has royal blood.
Okay.
And to make sure that... Isn't that beautiful? They did it with a little toy.
Yeah.
Okay. So That's the French Revolution. Okay, so here let's watch the storming of the Bastille. So how did it start? It started with this. Remember, people are so hungry. So they come in with the fork. And they're like, and in this is a prison. It's a prison filled with political prisoners, let's say. People who just don't like the king or whatever. They're gonna eat. They have all the food. They have chicken every day, and these people haven't eaten at all. So the people, some of the army,
Voilà donc votre façon de négocier. Je vais descendre pour le parler. C'est ça, c'est ça. Au créneau, vous autres! En joue! Vous n'allez pas faire tirer? Rassurez-vous. Je veux seulement leur montrer que la pastille est capable de se défendre. Il est interdit de tirer sans mon ordre!
because it's their own people, their
Si
own.
vous avez quelque autorité sur votre district, c'est bien ça. Ordonnez à vos gens de se retirer. Faites-leur savoir que j'ai juré de ne pas tirer le premier. Messieurs. Pas plus le choix. En joue! Non, ce serait un carnage. Retirez-vous! Monsieur le gouverneur, si vous ne faites pas tirer, nous sommes perdus.
Are you gonna do it?
En joue! Feu!
Ready?
Feu partira!
Anyway, they finally take it, and it becomes like the People's Army. Okay, so after taking this first castle, they realized that they could take castles. And so they started taking over all the castles, and they started taking over all of the nobility and started chopping people's head off. Okay? So you saw Marie Antoinette, she was one of like lots and lots of people that got their heads cut off. Do you understand why?
No.
Because hereditary title. Say it?
Hereditary title.
Yeah. Because they have hereditary title. They're part of the monarchy. They're part of the nobility. So their children will always be like a prince. Right? And if he's a prince, then he could be the king again. You get it?
Yeah.
So all of the... If you look at 1444 hereditary map. Let's see if I can find like hereditary map Europe. Nobles 1500. So we can see which families. Okay. So every one of these is a different family. And the thing is, a lot of these families, they would get married to each other. So this guy, the king of France, is like the cousin of the king of England usually. And they would fight each other, but they're also cousins.
Okay.
And so all of them, like, they would all marry each other. Okay, so at this point, all of the so what the French did was basically take all of their nobility and kill it, and then give. You understand? So they're not in the picture anymore. So all the other countries, they are still cousins. You understand? So they all decide to attack France. Okay, because they're all still cousins with each other. So, like, if you're the King of England, right, and you see in France, all the people are cutting off the heads of the nobility who are your cousins, what are you going to do?
Help my cousins.
Yeah, you're going to help, you're going to, I don't know, your cousins are all dead, but you're going to team up with all of these other cousins. And you're going to attack France because the people have realized that they don't need a king. And you can't have those ideas spread.
Yeah.
Also, because it's like a different idea. Because for a long time, you had the idea of, what was it? The great chain of being. You wrote it down? The great chain of being. Anyway, it basically says gods give all the power to kings. Okay, something like this. You got it?
Yeah.
So it's a hierarchy. It's the great chain of being. So these guys just killed all their kings and then just stepped outside of the great chain of being. And what they did was they gave all the power to their general. And the general, his name was Napoleon. Okay? So he became their new king, in a way. And Napoleon was supposed to be revolutionary guy. Like, he's outside of the dynasty. Okay?
Okay.
Because he was, the reason why he got legitimacy was because he was a good general, army general. And because of him, like, they were able to, so it became about merit. But then what does he do? Napoleon, let's see, Napoleon crowns himself. He becomes authoritarian. How does he become authoritarian?
You may leave us.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, but
My God, you're beautiful. What are they over 25?
It's makeup. A painter invented it and helped me put it on, working highlights and shadows. If it were a masterpiece.
You are.
Your masterpiece, then. The masterpiece of your love. May I have your permission to say that?
Do you doubt it?
Not when you look at me like that. Not when we're alone. Just the two of us. It's the other people who frighten me and spoil everything. The people I'm giving every excuse to hate me.
The trick is not to see them. My eyes will always be on you.
Sorry. So basically, at this point, he crowns himself emperor.
yeah.
He becomes authoritarian. Usually, how it works is the Pope is the one who crowns someone emperor. But here, he didn't actually do that. Let's go to it, actually. Napoleon crowning himself. It depends on your depiction. In another version, he takes it from the Pope's hand. In that one, he didn't do that. You get it? He takes it from his Pope's hand and then he puts it on his own head.
Yeah.
Depends on if you like the guy or not. How you remember the scene, I guess. Anyway, so he crowns himself emperor. He becomes the new, I guess, authoritarian. Okay, so but still, it changes everything because in England, there's no revolution, but you have something called the Magna Carta. So let's actually write that down. Magna Carta 1215. Put in your okay, here.
Great. Not only to its king, in gain strength.
Well, who could object to such reasonable words?
So they make.
But it's hard.
So basically, all of the nobles. This is Robin Hood, but Robin Hood has some idea. So Robin Hood is a fake story. It's a myth, but there are some ideas in Robin Hood from that myth that could be real. One of those things they did the Magna Carta scene in the Robin Hood movie. Why? Because I don't know. Okay, so Robin Hood is fake, but maybe they're trying to use it as a teaching tool. Okay, that's maybe one of the reasons why. Okay, or also maybe because in Robin Hood there's an idea of Magna Carta as well. What is the Magna Carta? Magna Carta is all of these nobles, instead of having a big rebellion, all of the nobles, they started to have like fights with the king because the king is all powerful. So we went from absolute monarchy. You can write it down. Absolute monarchy to constitutional monarchy. Constitution. So now he has a big list of rules, and the rules become almost more important than the king. Okay? That's the rules the king has to follow. And why they did that is because he said, if you don't sign this, then we're all going to team up and kick you out.
Okay.
And this happened in like 1200 or whatever. That's how England, basically the progress between England. So because of that, England was more stable.
Okay.
So England didn't like. In France, everybody was like, kill them all, like, you know, because it was just like really powerful. The absolute monarchy in France was until like 1600, and that happened with King Louis. And we could say that King Louis, let's see, what year was he? Have you seen this guy before? So 1600 to 1715. So you can see the idea of absolute monarchy comes and goes until you get to a constitutional monarchy. And then, so what's important about Napoleon? So here's one big difference between the noble world and, so let's just watch the Napoleonic War. Napoleonic Wars timeline. So, there's a revolution in France. First thing that happens is all of these countries declare war on France. Then these guys join in. And these guys, they have problems with these guys, so they were on France's side for a little bit. They weren't on the same side, but they were fighting these guys, so... Anyway, France is very powerful. Look, they're even winning. Even though everybody is against them. The reason is because all the people want to be with France too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the peasants, all the people that want to fight against the system of kings ruling everything. So Spain changes sides. Because the people of Spain, they believe in the revolutionary ideas. Okay?
Okay.
Ultimately, France loses, but they change the world a lot. This is the Second War. Do you have any questions, or?
No.
Okay, so what's important is this. Let's go back. We go back to. Can you read that?
Measurement.
Okay, and what's that word?
Standard.
Yeah. So basically, one of the weird things about this time was everything was surrounding this idea of the world being a relationship between God and the king. One of those things is, for example, we say the foot size of the king. Okay, so how you would count, sorry, let's see, foot size, king's foot size. Okay, so how you would count how big your field is, your field for growing stuff, would be by some measurement. Okay, so how would you know that? This is why it's called a ruler. Okay, the ruler is called a ruler because the ruler rules. Okay, the ruler gives the size of the domain. Do you remember we talked about that before? With authorship, authority. Okay, so this is the size of your domain, the scope of your analysis. Okay, scope. All right. So then how do you decide this is going to be 1 centimeter? Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? So before there was a standard, now it's a standard that this is 1 centimeter. We say this one is 1 centimeter or whatever. Okay. Obviously, I'm doing it wrong on purpose because I'm showing you something. So before that, it used to be the size of the king's foot. Okay?
Okay.
Because everything is revolving around this idea. So they would measure the king's foot size and be like, that is 1 foot. And so if you're counting something for a trade, if you're counting, like, I don't know, this piece of land with potatoes on it, I say it's 5 king's foot to 5 king's foot.
Okay.
All right? But every time a king dies, you have to measure the foot again. Uh-oh, this guy has a bigger or a smaller foot. Okay, 6 foot. Now it's 6 foot. So every time the king dies, you have to kind of do it again. You with me?
Okay.
So what Napoleon does is basically standardize it. Okay? No more of that nonsense about the king's foot size. We make a one standard size, and he does it with everything. He does it with centimeter. Okay, everything starts to become having a standardized. Okay, why?
Okay.
Because we talked about it before. Even like soldiers, okay, Napoleonic soldiers. Okay, in formation. Okay, the formation that they take is kind of like a machine, right? What were the two words that we described that start with R? This. Do you remember?
Start with R?
Yeah. Two words that start with R to describe this machine. If I shoot one of those soldiers, what happens?
Shoot the soldier?
Yeah, because they're walking, right? They all walk together. Right? And they have to march together. So Napoleonic March, war. What happens? Let me see if I can find the scene. Yeah. What happens when one of them dies?
Others will capture you.
When one of them dies, they are
They're replaced?
Yeah, they're replaced. Right? When one person dies, they are replaced with. It's like a machine. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go back. So you make a standard soldier. Okay, everything becomes replaced. You make everything reproduced. Okay, so for example, in science, you have to make sure the tests are reproduced. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
In other contexts. So I do a test in Japan. I do this test in Germany. It should have the same results or something, right?
Yeah.
So we have reproduced in science, reproducibility in science. So we have a standard measurement. So we have to measure everything. We have to count everything. If we're going to keep a formation. Formations, Napoleonic Wars. Okay, so I'm going to end with some. So here are some like the formations that they have to go with the troops. You know? So if you have to do the formations, you have to count everything. Everything is becoming very rational. All aspects of life are becoming very rational, including, we can say, the streets of Paris. Okay, and we're gonna end with this idea because I promised you we're gonna get to architecture, right?
Yeah.
At some point, sorry. And so what's also happening is that the architecture is becoming more rational, using math, and the obvious one is Eiffel Tower. So if you go to the Eiffel Tower, so what does it look like?
Triangle.
Yeah, it looks like a triangle. Anything else? Does it look like anything else? Does it look like any other architectural thing?
I think many high buildings, like towers, has the shape, has similar shape.
Okay, you know what, Jenny? I'm not gonna spoil this one for you. One day you go to Eiffel Tower, okay, by yourself, or like I don't know. One day you're gonna go to the Eiffel Tower, right? Do you have a plan?
I went there before
Oh,
when
you
I
went
was
there
young.
before?
Yeah.
You seen it before?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you think about it? Oh, here, when you go close to it. Do you remember?
Yeah. At that time, I think it seems like very stable.
Let me see if I can do it. Find a 360. Bam. Okay, anyway. Alright. So it looks like kind of like okay. Let's just look at this one. Paris map roads 1800, let's say. So what's happening to the roads in Paris? Have you ever seen something like this, or? Okay, let me see. So they're making a lot of these little streets into to have big streets to go through them, basically. Let me see if I can find. Yeah. So you see what's happening? They're putting a lot of these big streets through everything.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make squares, basically. The point is to make squares. Okay, so there's gonna be. Can you find any like big squares? You know what I'm talking about? Squares.
Wait,
where people like hang out.
Okay.
I don't know. Here. So they're putting more squares everywhere. Now the reason is because, and then they're building like one big road that goes through as well at some point. So the reason why they're doing that is to make sure that the military can go anywhere it needs to go with these big roads. Okay?
Okay.
And then they also are making sure that, because one of the reasons why the French Revolution happened was that all of these places, they were like filled with houses. There weren't any squares. So let's say French square. No, French square architecture. That's not what I'm talking about. Sorry, French square. What's it called? I don't know. My brain's not working. That's not what I'm talking about. But so basically, they're just making like okay, here, Barcelona map. Or let's just go to Google Earth. Google Earth is the best one, but it takes a second to load. Okay, Barcelona. Have you ever been to Barcelona?
No.
Okay. So check out all the squares, you see?
Yeah.
So these are really cool actually, because in all of these squares, like people are hanging out, it's really social city. Like all of these squares, like people are chilling. You know, this one becomes a kind of chilling area, and also inside becomes a chilling area too. And then you have like these huge ones. So it's good and bad. It's good because it's good for the government because you can easily send your army through the big street. Okay? And if there's a rebellion somewhere, you can send your army, you know?
Yeah.
And to make sure that the rebellion is down. So then the cities start becoming like this. Let's go to Paris and see what we can find. Paris should be something. It's like way more complicated version. Okay, so do you see all these big streets are kind of modern,
Yeah.
built with Napoleonic ideas. Arc de Triomphe. So he took out all of this stuff so that it's all. And Paris is one of the most like advanced like that. Do you see?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's another version of basically making society more mechanized because this is like I don't know. What do you think about it? Do you see what's going on though? Because before there wasn't like this like there was a person that made sure that all of these roads were made.
Yeah.
All of this stuff was kind of like modern. Like before there was maybe one road or something, but it was so complicated. Because before this in the 1600s, because it was all villages, but they had to come out and basically, and that's why there was a revolution. But after this, right, there couldn't really be a revolution anymore because Napoleon is smart. Napoleon got to power because of the revolution.
Yeah.
And he was able to stop the riots. He was able to stop the rebellion because the rebellion was kind of endless. And you can read, and obviously you're gonna read some stuff about the revolution. Okay, so that was a big moment in history because it standardized everything. Okay.
Okay.
Standard soldier, replication, reproducing, and standardization has to go with science. Because if you do a test in Japan, you have to do it in Germany. Okay. And then we get back to put a crown on your own head. So the idea here is to talk about a research question. So before we go, do you have any like thoughts that what do you want to like research? Because I said before that idea, the reason why I said it, I skipped to it, this is because your answers to those questions were so good that it was an essay on its own. Do you understand? So because we have to write multiple essays anyway, so this one I saw, I was like, oh, that was so interesting. You should write an essay about that. And that's why I skipped to that right away. Okay, you with me?
Yeah.
So I wasn't planning on doing this. I was planning on doing something else. But you did a good job. So I was like, okay, that's an essay topic. Let's write some of the notes for that because that's really good. That could be a topic. But my plan was actually to talk about your own research question. So did you think about this question by yourself or like what do you want to learn about in the world? And then whatever your question is, that's when we talk about legitimacy. And what does it mean to be legitimate? Okay?
Okay.
So first we have to say, what do you want to learn about in the world? That's why we talked about legitimacy. We talked about authorship. Okay, everything connects. I'm not talking about stuff randomly. Okay, you are the authoritarian. So research question. Do you have any ideas? Did you think about it by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Give me some.
The difference between the building of the nobles and citizens in the past.
Anything else? That's pretty good. Sure. Was there anything else? Because it sounded like the way you said it, you sound like you had multiple. Or was that the only
I
one?
actually want to know more about the films or movies that created during
that were created.
The revolution, like what those movies reveal.
Which revolution? The French one? Or which one? Do you know other revolutions?
Just French Revolution,
Okay,
I think.
during the French. Yeah, there's a lot of movies about the French Revolution. Anything else? So, those are all great. So maybe we can make a list of research questions, okay? Those are all great. You can make a list. And then next class, we'll talk about legitimacy or authorship. How we can find... How we can basically do research. Okay. That's hard work. How to do research. For now, you can just go here. Google Scholar. Do you know how to use this one before?
Like how to search?
Okay, we'll talk about it next time. For now, just go mess with it by yourself. Just like start. So think about some research questions. Okay?
Okay.
And then go into Google Scholar and then type some stuff and see whatever, because we're out of time now. Right? We're out of time?
Yeah.
So, that's fine. Go mess with it by yourself and then report to me your findings maybe. And be like, oh. It's going to be difficult though. But just see. So what do you want to learn about in the world? The difference between, I don't know. So go on Google Scholar and just start searching yourself. Whatever. And see what you can find. Alright?
Okay.
Okay. So did we do all your homework?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Do you have a topic that you can talk about for next time? You can write about?
I'm not sure.
Okay. There's still a lot of stuff that we had to go through. Yeah. Let's do this. So, come up with a couple of research questions. Okay? Use this one. Qualitative and quantitative methods for how to understand it. Okay? So that's what you have to do.
Okay.
Okay? So you come up with a list of research questions. So we had, what was one of your questions? You just said. Sorry, I forgot. It was noble buildings versus peasants. Okay? So how do you want to answer this question? With qualitative questions or quantitative questions? Qualitative versus quantitative. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So we could say, how do we want to answer this question? Do you want to write, so respond to this question, respond. how do you think about, however you think about it. However you think about it. I'm not going to tell you right now because I want to see how you think about it. Because sometimes I like it when, like, you think about things in a creative way. So maybe I don't want to, prime you. So after you write about it, it's more interesting for me. Okay. We still have so much stuff to do. So standard measurements. Okay, I was supposed to link it to economics. So we'll do that next time. So I'm just gonna write it down. August. Sorry, I'm so slow today. August. What is it? 18. Standard measurement to economics, and we can also talk about. Okay. All right. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. So just make a list of research questions. List of possible research questions and respond to qualitative and quantitative methods for how to understand it. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So thanks. I'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right. You sure you don't have any questions? You're good?
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, we were supposed to talk about this architects as well. So because out of Napoleon, there will be a bunch of architects that goes with it. All right, I'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye. Have a good weekend. Are you doing
Goodbye.
anything? Okay, bye.